Some of you may have seen or may be interested in seeing a wonderful new movie called The Bike Riders, which is based on true story, based on a book taken of motorcycle and motorcycle gang members back in the late 60s. And it has Austin Butler, who's someone I work with, and Jodie Comer, and a whole bunch of other people, Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus, Boyd Holbrook, who I also work with, some lovely, lovely actors. And it's really a real character-based storytelling by a wonderful director and a wonderful cast, and very compelling. And I coached Austin and Boyd on it. The people I coach hire me so that they can do better work, because they don't want to do anything but their very best. And they hire me as a guide, as another set of eyes, as an idea generator, as someone to keep them honest, because sometimes we can't always see our blind spots, as someone who understands script analysis very well, to make sure that a part has that kind of complete arc of a beginning, middle, and end, and that it's interesting. He wants to make sure that he's doing the very best work he can do, and I'm there to help make that happen. That's what they hire me for. Right, like part of the struggle of being a lead actor in a movie is that there's practically no rehearsal time. And so you need to show up pretty much with everything already organized, right? So we front load. We're not coaching on set, in Cincinnati where they filmed that. We were actually coaching in Hungary while he was working on Dune 2, because he had to go from Dune 2 and have all his hair and then wear a bald cap when he was originally going to shave his head, because Jeff Nichols, the director of Bike Riders, wanted him to have all his hair and he wanted him to have a wig. So because there's no rehearsal, we were working on that to create this whole performance so that he can show up in Cincinnati and start practicing riding bikes again, because he knew how to ride motorcycles, but not these old Harley Davidsons, and have a performance. So in The Bike Riders, it takes place over about a 7-year period. And what happens and Tom Hardy also is in that film, one of the other leads, I didn't mention that. What's everyone's arc? And there's even the arc of the gang, because the gang starts as this kind of just people in love with bike riding, and by the end it's been infiltrated by all these people who want to bring like drugs and guns and things like that it used just to be about alcohol and at the most a knife. And at the end it's got heavy drugs, heroin, guns, and the whole thing becomes kind of a tragedy, especially for Tom Hardy. I think you're always looking in any part at the beginning, middle, and end. Where do I start out? That's the stasis. Where do I end up? And hopefully in good writing, the writer has mapped out for you that journey. And then you just need to make sure whether that's about you getting older or stronger physically, some sort of physical transformation. Like sometimes a part will take you from like age 30 to age 70, and there's some aging stuff you have to do. Or is it a change in my point of view? Do I start out innocent and then by the end I'm cynical? What's the transformation? What's the journey, so that you're not starting and ending at the same place? We have a wonderful play in New York right now that won a lot of Tonys called Stereophonic, which I went and saw yesterday. And I loved it. I was really, really happy to be there. And one of my former students, Andrew Butler, is in it. He plays one of the engineers, and he's lovely. And I'm thinking about Eli Gelb, who's the actor who plays Grover, the head engineer. And his change over the time in this, It's about the making of a record by a group sort of loosely based on maybe Fleetwood Mac. And he starts out, he's kind of a stoner guy, wannabe, has lied about his resume. And at the end, he's made a producer and he's become more vocal and more sure of himself and less fawning about, oh, I've got these rock stars in, and more clear about who he is, and he's really developed. And that's a journey that's in the writing that I saw over the course of 3 hours in Eli Gelb's beautiful performance, really going from kind of a shy, nervous guy to someone who still was kind of nervous, but had more, he almost felt more muscular, more certain of himself. So going back to Austin in the Bike Riders, he's this loyal guy, a kid. It's like bike riding is his art form. And there's a kind of a thing that he feels a bit betrayed by Tom Hardy's character, who he looks up to as a father figure in the film. And it ultimately causes a rift where he just leaves. And he's married to Jodie Comer. Spoiler alert on all this, but what the heck, we're watching the movies. He leaves bike riding, he leaves the gang, it's all left. And then it comes a little bit full circle and he gets together with Jodie and he's given up bike riding, or so it seems. I don't think we really see much aging, even though it's about a 7-year period. I don't think there was a lot of focus on that. But more from this loyal, innocent, all-in guy to someone who's, and all in on Jodie too. Like he falls in love with her and he's in love with bike riding. And then through the course of events in the movie, he kind of has to leave both. And then comes back more as a civilian, right? Those are interesting journeys. And I think your job as an actor always, even in just a scene, never mind a whole play or a whole series, is like, what's the beginning, middle, and end? Where do I start? Because good writing, even in a scene, something will be changed. So that you're not just there like, I'm the same. That's not interesting and that's not how life works.